So we're just a few days into the early access of Starfield. The full game is right around the corner, and the Starfield mods have already gone crazy. We've already got HUD mods, gameplay mods, quality of life mods, anime girls shaking their butts on screen, and there's already been nude mods too. That's right, we already have our first nude mod. Yep, there's already NSFW mods available for Starfield. What a time to be alive. And even though Starfield has been a completely perfect game with no performance issues and no bugs whatsoever, I have 10 mods here that'll make any playthrough that much better. Let's go. So Achievement Enabler is actually the first mod in this list. It lets you enable console commands and mods without ruining your save and disabling the achievements. It can even fix a save that was previously marked as modded, but it sadly cannot give you those achievements that you already met the criteria for but did not previously unlock. You would have to load a previous save and re-unlock the achievements that way. But thanks to Prigrade, one of those, we can all start our modding journey without worrying about losing any of those sweet, sweet achievements. And this week, Seb has done a great job cleaning up Starfield with mods. Undelayed Launching by Seb263 removes the tedious, like, 20-second intro to the game where you're supposed to praise God, Howard. I mean, make sure that you really don't have epilepsy for the 500th time this month. Just let me into the frickin' game. I need to steal more succulents. Don't you just love walking around Starfield with thousands of items all around you at any given second, and you have honestly no friggin' clue what each item actually is until you inspect the stash or spend time reading the entire name of the item? Well, of course you don't. That's why IconSortingTags by MacGuffin is so amazing that I'm genuinely surprised it wasn't in the official game. It puts a bunch of little icons on every item in the game, from random junk that you'll hoard because you're convinced that someday it will be needed, all the way to the God-tiered items that you found at level 2 and will never get rid of. It also tells you the rarity of those items by these little stars here, going from 1, 2, 3, 4, I think there's 5, and then one big star means unique. And it can even show you when something is a useful resource in crafting with this little tiny recyclable symbol there. And for the aid items in the game, you'll see tiny icons telling you what the actual type of item it is, whether it's a bag or a pill type of thing like that, or some kind of soup or food. And you'll also see a tiny icon giving you some sort of indication of the actual buff that you get from it. Why this wasn't included in the game, I will have no idea. It is incredibly useful, and I will never be removing it from my mod list until something better comes along. But this next mod was something I didn't even know that I hated until the glass was just shattered for me while I was looking for mods to showcase in this video. BetterHUD takes the gigantic HUD elements from the middle of the screen like the XP pop-up and the location discovery pop-up and makes them smaller and towards the bottom of your screen. The only suggestion I have for this mod is maybe giving us the option to move the location discovery pop-up to the top portion of the screen while keeping the XP pop-up at the bottom portion. So thanks to Kaomat? I'm probably butchering that name, I do apologize, for making a mod that I didn't even know that I needed. Seb263 is back once again in this list with another mod that helps reduce the time in between save scumming after killing all of New Atlantis. Undelayed Menus is just a great mod. It helps the menus feel snappier and more reactive. It removes a lot of the fading effects so that way you don't have to fade into a screen or fade out of a screen. It also enhances those press to exit buttons so that way the timer is twice as fast by doubling the frames per second on a lot of these menus from 30 FPS to 60 FPS. So a lot of the menus should actually feel a lot smoother. And once you download it, you really can't go back to playing without it because the entire game will feel slow and repetitive. But speaking of repetitive, we are back with another Seb mod as well. So for some reason, Bethesda thought it would be a fun idea to increase the time it takes to pick up items off the ground or interact with things in general from a fraction of a second to like 3 friggin' seconds, which feels like forever when you're trying to hide bodies in New Atlantis. But thankfully, Seb is here to fix Bethesda's boo-boo. This mod reduces the time it takes to interact or pick things up back down to about 300 milliseconds. Realistic Flashlight is another mod that helps increase the immersion of the game just a few short days into Starfield's release. It gives you several new options for the flashlight, ranging from vanilla but dim, modern version 2, realistic, and for some reason, a light bar. So no matter what floats your boat, you can have even more control over your flashlight. This next mod though is a must for most players. Less spongy enemies takes the extra health that enemies get for every level and it reduces it drastically. This is usually a mod that we see pretty late into the modding game for some of these Bethesda games, but we're actually getting it pretty soon, which is very impressive. What it does is it takes the extra health gain that enemies get, which I believe is like 20 HP every level that they gain, and reduces that 20 HP down drastically. So now you don't need to put 3 magazines into one Crimson Captain's skull. Okay, so these next 2 mods are an absolute must for any NVIDIA graphics card user. Because AMD smacked Bethesda with a fat check, Starfield unfortunately launched with DLSS's older, less athletic, less well-endowed brother, AMD FSR 2, as one of the only upscalers besides the god-awful cast upscaling. And while AMD graphics cards do amazing in this game, NVIDIA graphics cards are very much lacking. But fear not, the Bethesda community will pick up the slack yet again. Only a few days after early access, we already have a couple of DLSS mods that swap out the default FSR2 upscaling mode with DLSS 2. The first one is from Luke FZ564, and it just swaps out the default FSR2 upscaler with DLSS 2. It's very simple and very straightforward. But Pure Dark also put out a mod this week that replaces FSR2 with DLSS 2, and it comes with a nice reshade menu that lets you adjust the sharpness of the image as well. But Pure Dark also offers another version of this mod on his Patreon page for $5, built for DLSS 3, and has support for frame generation for the 40 series NVIDIA graphics cards too. And with that mod, it's insane watching my FPS climb up from 50 FPS into Atlantis with my 4090 all the way to like over 100 FPS just by turning on DLSS 3 and the frame generation as well. But like I mentioned, this version of the mod with frame generation is unfortunately locked behind a paywall at the current moment. But I do suspect that we'll be seeing more mods that add in DLSS 3 and frame generation for free within the next few days. The final mod for this video is one that a ton of people are calling the best mod available for Starfield. Neutral LUTS from fading signal removes all of the crazy strong filters from Starfield and lets the true natural colors show. Bethesda, we know that you're self-conscious about yourself, but you don't need to filter yourself, baby. You're gorgeous just the way that you are. It's pretty crazy how many great mods we got in such a short amount of time. I mean, we already got a very early alpha version of Starfield Script Extender, or SFSE, and we've had confirmation that the official Starfield community patch is in the works as well. Plus, basically every other major scripting or modding tool you can think of that was used in Skyrim or Fallout will be updated as soon as possible as well. So if you'd like to see more modding videos like this one, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you guys are new, and comment down below what your favorite mod so far is. But thank you for watching. Later, nerds.